big news coming in. Delhi Health Minister Satyendar Jain arrested. Now, the Enforcement Directorate has conducted this arrest. I'm just going to read for our viewers' sake information that we have just accessed. This is an investigation led by Enforcement Directorate that revealed during the period 2015 to 2016, when Satyendar Jain was a public servant, there were companies beneficially owned and controlled by him received accommodation entries to the tune of 4.81 crore from shell companies against cash transferred to a Kolkata-based entry operator through hawala route. That's the primary charge from the initial information that we have here. Now, what we also know, according to the reports that are coming in, this particular amount was utilized for direct purchase of land or for repayment of loan taken for purchase of agricultural land in and around Delhi. That's the primary charge by the Enforcement Directorate against Delhi Minister Satyendar Jain. He's been arrested in a money laundering case. Further investigation in this case is on. According to reports, immovable property is worth 4.8 crore in the form of land belonging to shell companies is what Mr. Jain was found to be implicated in. Individuals have been provisionally attached as per Section 5 of the PMLA 2002. Further investigation is under progress. Priyank is joining us on the phone line. Priyank, big news coming here on the Big Focus. Tell us more about this arrest. What exactly does the ED have to say on this? What have you gathered so far?
See, Enforcement Directorate has been suggesting that this particular case pertaining to which Satyendar Jain has been put under arrest by the Enforcement Directorate pertains to a time period of 2015 to 2016, while Satyendar Jain was a public servant. And there were several companies which and he was a beneficiary of several companies which was controlled by him. And there was entry of cash of 4.81 crores, which was given to Mr. Jain, and that was said to be shell companies which were operating. Times Network had carried out a series of ground reports pertaining to these shell companies which are based in several portions of the national capital, and this amount was utilized for direct purchase of land, for the repayment of loan taken and purchase for agricultural land and rural land. According to the Enforcement Directorate, immovable properties worth 4.81 crores in the form of land were belonging to these companies, which was also gradually, linking towards Mr. Jain. So, following to which Mr. Jain has been put under arrest. But if you talk about the political turmoil, there have been series of been happening in between the centre and the Aam Aadmi Party government in the state of Delhi.
Yes.
Delhi. And after arrest of Satyendar Jain, certainly the politics is going to escalate further.
Okay, Priyank, thanks for joining us. I have Mr. Raman Malik of the BJP waiting on the phone line. Mr. Malik, good evening. Again, a big arrest by the Enforcement Directorate. The charges again are quite startling against the minister. What do you have to say?
See, the whole point is one has to understand that the agencies are not the caged parrots that used to be termed from the Honorable Court in the earlier regime. Today, the institutions are working with their independence, and let them do the needful investigations, put in the charge sheets, do whatever is deemed necessary. And so on, the courts also in this country are not like in 1975 where the Prime Minister used to tell the honorable justices that I understand how to run the country and you need to listen to me. So I believe that the independent authorities and independent judiciary would make the right decisions, and those decisions should be accepted by each and everyone in the country and follow the due process of law. But yes, one has to also remember that if you've not done anything which is against the law, then you will not have any problems. But if you've done things, then merely by calling it a vendetta politics, by merely terming it as the timing, every possible alibi that you intend to use it would still not vindicate you as an honest person should be.
This is a case that dates back to 2015 to 2016. During that period, Satyendar Jain was a public servant. So it is not a recent case. It dates back to 2015. So for the ED to now discover, again, my primary question is very simple. I mean, we were just discussing the Aryan Khan case and how the NCB bungled and there wasn't a shred of evidence. The only issue is, would there be enough evidence against the minister, because we are told that he's been arrested?
See, that is for the agencies to answer. What kind of evidences do they have and on what basis they've taken the action? But let's understand something. A couple of days back, a former chief minister from Haryana was given 4 years and 50 lakh rupees as a penalty. What was the statement given by the agency at that point in time? That we want to set an example that the nation should understand that breaking law is not okay, even if you are high and mighty. Today, the government of Punjab is being run by the government of Delhi through a remote control. The ministers in Delhi, the MLAs in Delhi are so powerful that they can come out on the national television and start commenting upon what has just transpired in Punjab.
Okay, let me have a quick response from Abhishek Dutt of the Congress, who is listening in. Mr. Dutt, good evening. Go ahead, please respond. Your first reaction to this big news breaking on Mirror Now of Satyendar Jain, minister in the AAP government in Delhi, getting arrested by ED.
We've been raising this issue since 2015-16, that this should be taken up very, very seriously. There's very clear transactions of Benami companies. But nevertheless, BJP never listened to us because it was suiting their narrative. Wherever Aam Aadmi Party is standing against the Congress Party, helping the Bharatiya Janata Party, it really suits them. We've been raising this issue for a long time that they bought land, loans have been repaid, a lot of transaction has happened. And when all this was so evident, I fail to understand why Bharatiya Janata Party waited for such a long time to take action against Satyendar Jain. Secondly, since, as per the news, he's been arrested, all this should be monitored under a sitting Delhi High Court judge so that evidences and facts are very clearly spelled out. No one should be targeted because of vendetta politics. This is what Aam Aadmi Party, after coming in Punjab, has been doing it. Their vendetta is very, very clear. But in democracy, law has to come forward. So yes, all those transactions from Kolkata-based companies have to be checked. We all know there were very clear transactions. But I think Bharatiya Janata Party, on purpose, politically suiting them, avoided this before.
Okay, so you are in turn blaming the BJP for the delay. The BJP says it's a clear case that is being investigated in all fairness by the Enforcement Directorate. Let me have Mr. Majid Memon joining us on the program, Senior Counsel. Very good evening, sir. Thanks for joining us. What do you have to say at this juncture? Of course, you've heard the political representatives with their take, but in a case like this where there's hawala transaction being spoken about, minister in his capacity as a public servant way back in 2015 is accused of these dubious transactions.
Well, these days ED has been found digging up matters which may be of several years in the past, and 2015 or even 2010 and all that. And incidentally, these are all matters where non-BJP political parties are the targets. I am afraid that this should not be treated on political differentiation. If there is anything wrong committed by any person, any citizen of India, be he belonging to X political party or Y political party, it has to be honestly investigated. But recently, if you recall, about a couple of months before, the Honorable Chief Justice of India, Justice Ramana, had publicly made a statement that there is so much of hue and cry that the central agencies are abusing their power to arrest and harassing the political parties, etc. So there is a need to have something monitoring committee over their action. And I think now lately, this very famous NCB matter,
Yes.
the arrest of Aryan, has also shaken the country.
Yes.
That how this boy was arrested and kept in custody by Central Agency NCB, and then later found to be having no evidence. So such things must not happen. Now, this particular minister being arrested, he should not be arrested to humiliate him. He should not be arrested for the purposes of bringing, disrepute or disadvantage to his political party. Honest investigation must take place. If he has committed the crime, he cannot seek exception for any benefit to his credit. He will have to face law. But if he has not committed the offense, and if this is being done as a witch hunt, then I'm sorry that this would send a very wrong message to everybody.
Yes, at this stage we don't know, or it will be preposterous to say whether this is a witch hunt or not. It is just the news that we are sharing with our viewers that the Enforcement Directorate has held Delhi Minister Satyendar Jain in a hawala case for transactions made way back in 2015 in his capacity as a public servant. The amount that is quoted is 4.81 crore. Entries to the tune of that amount found from shell companies against cash transferred to through hawala route.